Welcome to this week's episode of Courageous Leaders Changing the World. Super excited for this week's guest, Warren Cutajar. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So for the listeners who don't know who you are you and what do you do?
Who am I and what do I do? So I run with my partner alongside her. We do light codes. We run spiritual and coaching events, and we also have a VA agency and a property investment business.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah.
What's been a time we've had to summon more courage than any other time?
Oof. I think the first time that I left the mines, when I was in the mines in total for about 14 years, but this particular moment I stayed there for about 7 years, and I had negatively geared properties, and I absolutely hated my job, and I was at a breaking point, and I was like, I don't like the mines. I love property. What do I do? And then going from a job that was paying $130,000 at the time to then going back to $40,000 as a sales cadet in real estate, with having 4 negatively geared properties, it was probably one of the hardest decisions that I made, because logistically it didn't add up, but I had to make it work. So I had to summon the courage to burn that bridge. I burned my mining clothes. I burnt that bridge, and I was like, I'm never going back.
I got to do the spiritual thing, burn it.
Yeah.
I was not wearing my hat. Everyone can see that now, but I was thinking about burning my hat, and I'm like, do I really need to burn it? Do I need to do the spiritual thing and burn it? Yeah. What did you face off with in that? Obviously, when you've got all of that level of, high level income coming in, and you're facing off with that decision, what were the things that you were feeling and journeying in that?
I was journeying. I'm struggling mentally and physically, working in the mines, working 12-hour days, not seeing sunlight for half the day, then going back home. Like, winter was shocking. Like, you'd go underground and spend 12 hours, go back up, and it's dark, so you don't see any light. So I was battling that. I was battling the finance of, like, can I actually make it without, like, I've got all these recurring payments. Yeah, I could sell the properties, but my goal at that time was to retire at the age of 30. And I did that, but that's a whole nother story, which we may go into. I also battled the thing of what's my parents going to say? What's my dad? Because my dad was in the mines for 40 years, and I'm leaving it to do something else. I'm like, far out. I then realised in that moment that I was doing it to please him. That was one of the biggest realizations that I had. So I was like, okay, I'm going to burn that bridge. I'm going to do it. And yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's like this dynamic that plays out that we often play into. Like, the internal voice that we have in our head is really our mother's voice most of the time, or our mother's is the internal voice, but then how we make money is often the voice in our head of our fathers. So we just either repeat the patterns. We repeat the patterns of our mother's relationships, and we repeat the patterns of our father and how they make money, and it either becomes the job that they do or how we relate to it. And especially in Australia, it's like we're the great Aussie battler, and that's what you're saying there. It's like, I'm going to battle through this.
Yeah.
It's this interesting dynamic that plays out. What's been your ongoing journey with that kind of healing relationship with your parents?
It's been massive. It's been huge. Like, nearly every ceiling I reach, it then comes down to mum or dad. Which one is it going to be? And then until I break through the limiting belief of the traumas or whatever, the perceived traumas, then I can get to the next level. And so, yeah, it's having that has been, just a massive learning curve going through that.
What did it take then to retire from the workforce before you turned 30 then? Tell us that story.
So I left. So after 7 years, I got jack of it, and then I went into the real estate, did that for 2 years, and then I wanted to buy my 5th property. So I think I was 27 or 28 at the time, wanted to buy my 5th property, and then realised that I need more money. And the most I made that year was 90 grand, and I was working 7 days a week. And I was like, I want to retire, but I've got, 2 or 3 years before I'm supposed to get that mark. And so I was like, what do I know? I was like, well, I know that mining will give me that amount of money. So I then cut my losses, and that was I had to summon courage again to then the feeling of knowing that I burnt all my mining clothes. I told everyone that I'm never going back, and I felt like a massive failure to go back on my word. But then I was also attached to the outcome of what that's actually going to bring me, and that's going to give me money, which then is going to then give me the freedom, the perceived freedom. And, it's like, I sucked up my feelings to then do what I had to do to get that goal. And which, going down having the spiritual awakening and all that kind of stuff, then realised how much I was actually pushing down the beach ball. But anyway, I went back to the mines, and I knew that I was a different person to the person that was in the mines the very first time. The second time round, I was like, I've got to get myself a mentor. And so the real estate, the guy who owned the real estate company, I asked, he was like such a father figure to me, and I asked him to be my mentor, and he built a $20 million portfolio, and I was like, okay, cool. He's done exactly what I want to do. So he's like, well, you've got to actually sell all your properties, because those types of properties aren't going to get you to where you've got to be. And so that was another thing too. So then by the age of 28, starting a job, going back to the mines, selling my property portfolio, I was like, fucking hell. Yet when I went to the mines, I was like, okay, I'm on mission, whatever you want to call it. I'm on target. I see where I'm going. I know what to do. And I just worked my ass off, 14, 15-hour days, working as much overtime as I could. And that year I sold the properties. I bought 2 of the properties. But then one of the major things that I did was, and one thing that I often say is, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. And I changed the way that I looked at property this time round. I made sure that it was able to go up in value and also give me the cash flow so I can retire on the cash flow. And I worked my ass off. I bought 2 properties that year, and I changed the game. I changed the way that I did things. And, from those 2 properties, I then had 5 sources of income, because I was thinking outside the box on how can I earn the most amount of income from the one property so I don't have to buy so many properties.
What was your first kind of paradigm and how you saw property then? Like you got, amassed 4 properties. How did you see those? What was the frame of reference that you're looking at for those that then you had to change to be able to get to the new version of it?
Yeah. So I was buying the safe property. I was buying, the low maintenance property. I had a couple of units as well. And I tell anyone, like, yes, there's certain criterias of units, but the units that I had all had strata and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I didn't have control of the property because the strata manager or the community had to vote on decisions. And I'm like, I'm one person out of maybe 10 people that have a decision. And I went back from that and I'm like, no, I'd rather buy the property where I've got full ownership, I've got the full decision, I can control that property rather than it being controlled by how many other people.
Yeah. So. It's interesting to see like the different ways that people kind of get into property and the different frame of reference that they have. You know, when you're first starting out, you're like, all right, well, you just buy a property and then it makes money.
Yeah.
You have that level of ignorance to start off with.
Yeah.
What are some of the core things to be able to look for in terms of when buying a property if you want to create cash flow?
It's like it's land size. Land size, well, not only just land size, but how I look at things is one of the properties that I bought the second time around. I ended up getting three sources of income. So I had a 2-story house, had one person living upstairs, the other person living downstairs, and then I rented out the shed separately. So things like that, and then potentially, could put a granny flat out the back as well. So things like that. And then one of the other constructions that I did was I found a house that I was like, okay, if I renovate this, I'm probably going to get $400 a week. But if I split it into two, I was like, how can the question that I always ask myself is, how can I create the most amount of value out of this property or out of this block of land? And so this property was only a 2-bedroom house. And I was like, okay, if I renovate it, 400 max. I was like, okay, I saw the floor plan. I was like, if I just put a wall here, then I can create 2 units. And then I can rent out the 2 units for $350 each. So now I've got $700 a week property just by doing that. So just thinking outside the box and just, being open to creating value.
Yeah, I love that. That was definitely one of the things that I took from our conversations when we were looking at getting our first property as well. How can you get the most value out of it? Yeah. And that was also, one of the things that kind of played into where we bought, because we recognize, well, there's a double garage there. It's directly under the bathroom. So we can potentially just turn that into, a granny flat. Just put a, not a pergola thing. What's the thing that covers your cars? Carport. Out the front and do that. And then that just means that there's much more potential than just the house and all the other houses in the street. Yeah. So that little switch was very important to be able to change like how we looked at property rather than just being like, right, well, yes, land size is important. Yes, that's good. But also like how much value can we extract from this? Yeah. What are some of the mistakes that you see with people when they're getting into property then?
Some of the mistakes would be, one of the biggest things that I saw being a real estate agent is that they'd seek opinions from parents or other people that weren't specialized in that specific field. So sometimes the child would listen to the parents on, if there's termites, then it's no good. Then people would just literally just run. But then you talk to a pest and building inspector or you talk to a builder and say, okay, is it structural damage? No. Okay, so all I need to do is rectify the termite issue and it's all good? Yep. Okay, sweet. It's a deal. Then people would see that and then they talk to their parents and be like, nah, termites, nah, it's no good, go. And people would miss out on a great deal. Listening to people and not doing the research as well. So one of the massive things that, although I read like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and all those kinds of books, I listened to the wrong people. So I think that's probably one of the major things is listen to the people who've done it or are in it rather than people who are sitting on the sidelines giving opinions.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
What was the start of that spiritual journey that you went on from, being in the mines to starting to recognize all the different patterns and things?
Yeah. So thankfully, the guy that owned the real estate company, he took us to Tony Robbins. And that was the start of personal development. Because I thought personal development was listening to Eric Thomason, the hip-hop
preacher.
Yeah. I used to listen to him so many times in the mornings, just getting me G'd up to go to the mines. And I thought that was personal development. And then I went and did Tony Robbins and I was like, whoa, this is nuts. And then I progressed, went to Dr. John DeMartini, and then I was just going down these routes of like all this healing stuff, not knowing that when it was then COVID hit, and I was like, okay, I was up at Airlie Beach at the time and I was like, what can I do? I really wanted to, because I broke up with my partner at the time. I was like, I really wanted to go overseas and go to Dr. Joe Dispenza overseas, and nothing was happening. And then I had a friend that did NLP, and that was the opening when I did NLP in the Gold Coast. And then that opened me up to a lot of stuff, breathwork for the very first time. And I was like, what is this? And then I think the biggest thing was me being open to challenging myself on all these different modalities, all these different, personal development events and things like that. Yeah.
And what was that journey like in terms of what it opened up for you?
It's opened up so much. Like I remember what has it opened up? It's like I remember sitting on the beach for the very first time and I heard a voice saying, I can feel again. And then I just was on the beach and I just broke down crying because I was like, holy, for so long I've just been numb, and the work that I was doing I could feel for the very first time, and that was absolutely massive. And then so when I did that, I then I just lost track.
So what did that open up for you? So you're there on the beach and then you can feel for the first time?
Yeah, so it opened up. So I was able to feel for the very first time. I could feel my emotions. I then started opening up more things in my body, and I then activated in Kundalini, and that was huge. I could feel energy, and then slowly but surely that was leading me down the rabbit hole of what is this fucking energy stuff? What is all of this? Yeah, like, because I'd be in all these personal development rooms, and whenever they'd be doing a lot of like trauma stuff, I'd be then feeling their stuff, and then my body, I didn't know at the time, I was being the conduit and transmuting that energy. And I was like, why am I jolting? What is this jolting stuff? And it wasn't until I started going down deeper down the rabbit hole, I was like, okay, I'm embodying their energy. And so what I had to then do is have boundaries within my energetic frequency to say, no, that's not mine, and give it back. And I didn't know anything about that kind of stuff. And I think that's, a lot of people, can get quite activated with breath work, but I think there's also certain risks that people don't realize. Like there's another world. Like I suppose this is a spiritual podcast, but for a lot of 3D people, like I didn't realize that there was another world. Like I knew that there was underground. I knew that was another world, but the spiritual world is wild.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can remember like this time where I went to this was like a 7-day event in like Melbourne, and they're just getting people to do breath work from this like recording.
Yeah.
And they're like taking people deep in all of this stuff. And I'm qualified as a breathwork facilitator, and I'm just like twitching, going like, you do realize like you're opening up a lot here. And they were asking me to, because I was like breathing heavily and I'm like sighing when I breathe out, because when you sigh, when you breathe out, it resets like your vagus nerve and stuff like that. And they're like, all right, so you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. You're not letting go and all this stuff. And I'm like, take a breath, Cody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I did lose a lot of respect for them from that. And I think that's one of the things that isn't necessarily talked about in personal development a lot, is the importance of actually creating that, that energetic hygiene and that capacity to be able to hold the container effectively from an energetic standpoint, not just a content or intellect based standpoint. Yeah. And it's one of the things that, ignorance is bliss in the beginning to start off with. I think about some of the events that I've run over the years, and I think, holy fuck, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah.
I remember we ran a few of these events did one in like Melbourne, and someone was doing like breath work for the first time, and they just ran. They just like literally got out. I wasn't running; it was the person I was facilitating with. This person just like gets up and just like runs, grabs their stuff, and just starts running down the streets. And I'm just like, And I didn't recognize much about the nervous system at the time. It's just like when people have a specific response that they're not used to, then they go into either fight or flight or freeze or whatever it is, and the nervous system, recognizing each of the pieces of that, you can start to see it's just a strategy for them to be able to create safety for themselves. And, when I was young and dumb in personal development, there were a lot of things that I did ignorantly that was important as a first step. And, the more that you start to see in personal development, you recognize that there's a lot of layers and nuances to it all, especially like, even just the dynamic of a podcast or a speaking on stage, it brings so much more out of you. You see people on stage and you're just like, oh my God, it's so easy for them. And then inside you're just like, oh my God, what do I have to do next? All the things that are playing out.
Yes.
What's been your journey with stepping into more of the speaker?
Yeah. It's been nuts. I think it's another level of personal development. It's personal development on steroids. It's showing another level of depth and vulnerability that you get to uncover personally. Like when we did speaker trainer with you, like I was like, when you were talking about shifting the energy in the room and just walking around, and it's so interesting. Like exactly like it's like the energetic frequency of being able to be the conductor of that energy and being able to, I'm going to use manipulate in a great word, manipulate energy for the collective. I know, like, when we hold events, like we grid up and things like that, and we protect the space, and it's crazy what we can do with setting an intention and how powerful an intention is, and what that then creates as an energetic frequency for the collective. Like it's stepping in to more vulnerability. And like, I remember the first time Nat got me on stage and she got me to teach this little bit, and I absolutely froze. My nervous system didn't know what to do. It was like, I want to fucking run out the door. And I remember getting off stage and literally bawling my eyes out and being like, I could see my inner child, my little boy just wanted to be held. And that was such a beautiful moment. And then going on stage for the second time when we did Light Codes, I absolutely smashed it. And it was nice to be able to show a level of vulnerability, a deeper level of vulnerability in front of people, because you've got 30, 40, up to 100 odd people looking at you. And when I went on stage for the very first time, I felt their energy just like hit me in the chest. I was like, I can't do anything. Yeah. And it was just literally like an arrow in the chest. And I was just like a stunned mullet. But then learning how to manipulate that energy and move it and do things with it, be a magician of the room. It's like it's art. It's pure art. And when you can nail it, it's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see how it kind of plays out. One of the core things that plays out for people who end up like looping in personal development and they go from course to course, from room to room, is they they do the inner work. So they do the growing up work, the waking up work, the cleaning up work, but then they don't do the showing up work. And when you're doing like speaking as an example, there's no capacity not to show up. It highlights exactly how you're showing up, the energetic frequency that you're showing up from, so that you can actually start to recognize it and evolve it, because the thing that you thought that you were doing to be able to do the personal development is like really often the mask to actually perpetuate everything being the same. And when you're doing something on stage, then you get instantaneous feedback to the degree at which you're showing up. You get feedback from people that are just like, when you're not landing a piece, or where you're not in your heart, and people are just like doing these things. I had this at like one of our most recent events. It was like, recognize that half the people are like onto their laptops and doing all the different things and stuff. And I'm like, right, well, let's just close laptops for a bit so that we can become present in the room again. And there's like two components to that. There's like the self-responsibility piece, but then there's also the facilitator responsibility piece. So it's them and yourself being able to go, okay, cool. Well, how do I change that energy? How do I move that? Because you can't get that in a podcast. Yeah. You don't get that feedback loop. We have this conversation here, but when you're on stage, it is, I think it's like just a fast track to growth, because you get that instantaneous feedback loop. It's like playing a computer game, because you got a recognition of like what your health score is, or if you're winning or if you're losing. Yeah. You get that instantaneous feedback loop. Maybe that's why I love it so much.
And there's definitely a difference between speaker and facilitator. Yeah. Like, you can speak on stage and everyone just be numb and be like twiddling their thumbs. But when you can facilitate and talk to the hearts of the audience and make them emotionally feel what you're feeling on a greater depth, then that's pure art.
Yeah, most people are like, oh yeah, I'm confident on stage. It's like, yeah, you're confident and everyone else is asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was definitely the difference, like that I'm learning too, like after speaking at Light Codes for the second time, and then my thing that I'm learning is, how can I deliver the information that is quite analytical and quite heady, but how can I actually get them to feel it and get them into their heart? So that's like one of the things that we ended up doing at Light Codes is, how can we like tap into, I want people get a greater understanding of how they can get into the spiritual realm without being so heady, and activating light language without being so heavy, because they receive the energy, but then they keep on blocking it because they're observing it and they're like, no, I'm not open to this. And I then had to like start, I just used a demonstration of just using it. We've got like these EEG machines and things like that, and breaking down our brain waves, so then people can actually get a bit of an understanding. And like, if I was to then talk to them, at least that way, they've got an actual demonstration and they can see it. They're using all their sight, their hearing, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that plays out. Seeing is believing, and most people use that as a crutch to kind of avoid the unseen aspects to everything. Yeah. So, we were talking a little bit before about, how people, I call it spiritually bypassing. It's like they're just not showing up in the world. And this was one of the things that I was recognizing last year about like what we're talking about before this podcast is, there's value in personal development until it becomes a crutch. And, if you look at people like Alex Hormozy, it's just show up in the world and then things start to happen, because most people in personal development, they miss that step. They're just like, all right, let's do all the inner work, but I'm not actually going to take it out to the world. So I'm not going to actually show up differently. Yeah. And it's that dynamic that they become so engrossed and indoctrinated in specific concepts, ideals, or whatever it is, that then they just use that for their entire life to be able to hide.
Correct.
And when people hide behind all of those masks that they've created, all of the identities that they've created, they only really perpetuate their suffering. They perpetuate their suffering because they've created this entire identity around who they need to be seen as, rather than actually putting their heart into something where things open up. And then when you're speaking, that becomes so evident when you can feel someone instead of just hear them. Often you hear the words and none of it lands.
Yes.
And I remember we were talking about Preston earlier as well. He said something in the room, it's one of those things that you hear on, social media every other fucking day. And because you're in the room, you're in that collective energy, you're in that field, and it just hits different because you're so present, because you're already in the energetic frequency of openness in that moment. Yeah. And I think that's part of what I love about rooms and what I dislike about the time that we're on tech, as an example. I love podcasting to a certain degree, and I love speaking on stage 10 times more.
Yeah.
What's been your dance with your relationship with in-person versus online things?
I think I was actually reading your one of your posts about how you're getting more into content creation and how you're being more creative. And I think I had to learn how can I be creative and have fun with the social media kind of thing. And so I do reels that take out the piss, and I be creative because it's that creative flair. So how can I have fun doing that? But then also, I fucking love intimacy. I can't stand, I love big rooms, but when Nat's, doing all the rah-rah stuff and I'm in the back, just give me a one-on-one conversation. I just want to have a deep, deep conversation with one person, not with 100 surface level conversations with many. And so, I'm definitely the quieter person in the dynamic of the relationship. And so, I love intimacy. I love being one-on-one, but also I love the ability to use social media to I love leverage. I love leveraging presence on social media. I love leveraging money. I love any type of leverage. Give it to me.
The leverage king. Yeah. It's I've been on that journey with I'm the same in my intimate relationship. I'm the introverted one.
Yeah.
They say often introverts hide on stage as well. That's 100% me.
Yeah.
I prefer either a one-on-one conversation or standing in front of 100 people.
But really, you're only talking to one person because we're all one at the end of the day.
Totally. I was at this birthday in Palm Beach, maybe a couple months ago, and there's probably about 8 people around the table, and I'm just there enjoying my parenting, which is I'm looking after one of the kids while everyone else is having their conversations. And what I noticed from that was, as people started to leave, as in it was from 8 people to 7 to 6 to 5 to 4, then I actually got into the conversation. I was oh, this is so interesting. I was watching myself just going, oh, so I've got a certain tolerance of 30 to 100, and then I've got like 1 to 4, but anything in between there, it's just like, end my life.
Yeah.
And it was this weird kind of experience because I was also like I often contemplate things way too much, as you can probably guess. I'm like, is it the people that were there? I'm like, do I not vibe with that person and that person? And then I'm just like, oh no, I think it's just the number of people that were there.
Yeah.
Because there's probably some level of trauma there that's probably yet to be integrated around childhood or something. That's normally what it is. But it's this interesting dance of recognizing what are your zones of like what's easy to you, but also stepping into what the edge of it is. Because I remember it used to be that I used to fucking hate even one-on-one interactions. I started out working in a bar, so people had to talk to me.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't talk to people. Yeah. And then I became a PT, so that I actually had to hold a conversation with one person at a time.
Yeah.
And I kept pushing myself to my edge with that.
Yeah.
And that's expanding my capacity. That's why I also kind of loved to hate networking events as well. Yeah. Where it's like, who are you? What do you do? And, here's your 30 seconds and stuff. Yeah. I would go there and just be like, I just want to have like a deep conversation with people. That's also why I like at my events as well. I'm like, if there's like a deep conversation, I'm like all about it. But if people are talking about other stuff, I just like leave. I'm probably a little bit on the spectrum in that instance.
I can definitely resonate with that 100%.
Yeah.
Like there's been many times when we're at social events and I'm just like, just get me out of here. And 100% definitely some trauma that probably needs to be looked at and discovered deeper. But like, I 100% I totally agree. Like I think growth happens on the edge of support and challenge. And when you can push up to them edges and meet yourself in take off that mask and meet yourself at that next level of vulnerability, I think that's where probably a lot of people are so stuck because they're so used to the same old shit and they're not willing to meet that edge. And that's why I was like, you know what? Speaking on stage is going to be my new edge. And that's why I'm like, okay, it's time. It's time to find a deeper level of myself.
What's been the thing that's been coming up for you on that journey most recently and stepping into that more?
On speaking, I think the fact of, I was journeying how much people are judging, knowing how much I'm a judgy bitch. I fucking, judge so much. But then also coming to the realization that they're just a reflection of me. And I get to journey that. I get to journey the deeper reflection of me. So, and as we were speaking beforehand, is just the time. I think the days, like, holy dooly, like, Like, I only spoke for 3 hours on the first day, and then by the third day, I was over-humaning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like the number of events that I've done over the years and stuff like that. Like I have a big tolerance for running events, but I'm also like in a season this year where I'm like, all right, let's just make every event that we run shorter.
Yeah.
So like even our business events, we finished at like 4 and stuff like that. And I'm like, we could probably do 3.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain like optimal zone that we have in terms of, duration of things. And, we're also the inverse experiences, like in a level 1 holographic, sometimes people have gone to like 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff. And it's that dance of like, getting people there, but also like doing it in a way that it can actually be more fun and enjoyable, which has been definitely one of my edges. Cause I'm like very needs to be serious and professional. It's not, I don't have the professional thing anymore. I used to have that a lot more, but it's like it needs to be definitely serious, and it's like serious and results driven. So there's definitely some things that I've journeyed with that over the years.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of do that in every area of life, where it's like we go through and we make it much harder than it needs to be to recognize that, you know, it's actually pretty easy. When we look back in hindsight, it's easy. When we're in the thing, like when you look back at your property deals and you're like, oh, that was pretty easy. But when you're in it, you're just like, oh my God, will this thing ever go through?
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's in the thick of that, whether that's in property or, you know, in personal development, or they're in the thick of it, they're facing with all of this shit that's coming up for them, and it's going much slower than they would like it to go?
Yeah. I've had that many, many times. Remove myself from it. Yeah. And instead of looking in, have a celestial view of looking up from above and realizing that right now, even though it's not happening as quickly as what I want it to happen, I can surrender and know that it will happen. If I know it's going to happen, then it will happen. And that's funny. Like, it's something that I'm journeying at the moment. It's like, one thing that Preston said is like, when you've reached, you know, the top 1% of most people, and you have, you know, 2 years off to be present with your kids, doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful. And like knowing that, having that knowing that no matter what, just having that knowing that whatever you're going to do, I fucked that up.
Well, while it comes back, I can't remember who it was, but there was a story recently where someone was like, you know, they're in the prime of their career, they're making more money than they'd ever made ever before, and then they decided to take 5 years off to be with their kids. It's like prime of their career, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're in the prime of your career, you're making more money than you ever made, you're on the growth trajectory. You know, I think they were making, you know, eight figures or something at the time.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was, but, you know, 10 years later, so 5 years after they'd taken the 5 years off, they were like a billionaire.
Yeah.
So it's like, just take the fucking time off.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I imagine it's like pulling a slingshot back.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you might think you're going backwards, but you're basically pulling that back to then perpetuate yourself 10 times forward. So I think right now we're in a phase of parenting and being like one of the things that the reason why I wanted to really retire was to be a present dad. Because my father was always working or things like that. And so, yeah, I get to enjoy those times and be present.
Yeah, it's so cliche, parenting, but there's kind of no escaping how much it kind of changes you.
Yeah.
Even like when people don't recognize it so much when they like just move houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, you have the core identity shifts of like, you know, when you have kids, when your relationship changes, when your job title changes, where you live changes.
Yeah.
It's obvious in parenting, but it's less obvious when you just like change houses or you just change like job titles and stuff like that. It's more of a subtle shift.
Yeah.
But it also creates this dramatic shift in terms of who you're seen as in the world and who you need to be on often like validated and appreciated for. Yeah. I was thinking about this, must have been like 3 weeks ago or something. And I'm like, I was recognizing this paradigm of I'm only loved for me and what I create in business. And when you play into that paradigm of creating this specific one-dimensional dynamic of how you receive love, it kind of blocks off love to all other areas, and then it creates this entire identity around that thing, which is diminishing you at the same time as kind of like drip feeding you to keep you going. Yeah. And I've definitely played into that kind of paradigm in business a lot, where it's like, this thing, my entire identity is wrapped up in what I build in business, the success that I have financially in business, all of those things. And, parenting has really forced me to be able to step out beyond that and start to let go of those things, which is, a journey in and of itself. Yeah. What's you stepping into parenting kind of brought out in you?
Patience, but also like sometimes your partner triggers you.
Just sometimes.
And you can easily snap. I can easily snap. I'll say I can easily snap. When it's like a 5 month, 7 month, 9 month year old kid, it's like actually taking a step back and being like, I'm triggered right now and I can breathe through my nervous system. And it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's just also, once again, it's building up that energetic capacity to hold more. I believe he's definitely teaching me to be able to be more patient, be also present. Because there'd be sometimes like I'm trying to do something on my phone, even though I don't like it, and then he's just mucking up. I'm like, okay, I'll throw that away and okay, all right, I'm with you now.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing that kids teach you. And then they also teach you where do I want to shift my priorities and who am I doing it for? Like there was a point of which, am I creating success for my parents or am I creating success for my children? But that's still all outside of me. So it's like no matter where, I'll get to a point where it's like, fuck. They grow up, they leave the nest and I'm like, fuck, what's going on? So the biggest thing is for me right now is journeying what's something deep that I can create for me and for the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a conversation with a coach the other day and I was recognizing, how much we prioritize money making and at the same time deprioritize friendships. And because especially when you like become a parent as well, because it's like, all right, well, family, that's going to take priority. You're going to be looking after the kids. Can't just like go out on a whim and go to a dinner like at the drop of a hat, even though you're invited. And I was recognizing that I was catching up with this person. There's no business gain or agenda in it, and recognizing the thoughts inside of you where you're just like, I could be working my pipeline, making money right now or doing X, Y, Z. And the almost, it almost becomes like borderline shaming of being perceivably non-productive in business in a specific amount of time. And it was highlighted to me more in the social interaction than it was with like family. Because with like with your kids and stuff, you're just like, wow, who gives a fuck about business when I'm with my family? Yeah. But in a social situation, it was like it was made blatantly obvious to me that it's like, this is not family time. This is not money-making time. So is it productive?
Yeah.
And I think that in business, productivity has almost been like over-glorified.
Yes.
It's like, definitely in society in Australia, it's like if I'm busy, then I'm good.
Yeah.
And if we've associated busyness with being good, then we live our entire life trying to be good, but then just being busy, not actually like creating in the world.
Yes.
And that was like also the thing that I'm journeying a lot with my content on Instagram is like, I mean, if you're doing carousels, can take hours sometimes to be able to get all of the get it written, and then if I haven't been organized and I haven't delegated it to the team to put it all in, and then I'm behind, then I put one in and it takes that amount of time, and then there's like all of the photos that are specific to that. And Jackie's like, oh my God, how are you going to put like these hours into every single post that you're doing this year? And I'm like, well, some of them.
Yeah.
Because the energetic frequency that you transmit in having it much more specific makes it much more potent than a outtake of something, outtake of an event.
Or something external like a content creator or ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. I'm doing much of my healing with content at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious when you say it like that, because you go through the journey of like you're okay to be seen online first, and you're like, right, I can put myself out there. I've done my first Facebook Live and done all of the things.
Yeah.
And then you're seen on stage and you're seen to that degree, and then you're seen in the media and stuff like that when you go viral. And then it's like there's so many different layers of reflection of life that life just feeds back to you in all the areas that you're not seeing yourself, and all the areas that you're trying to hide, trying to have it, this looks perfect, oh, my life is perfect, all of these things. Trying to have it Instagram worthy.
Yeah.
What's been your journey with content? Where are you at with it? Because like for those of you who don't know, I've been in a season of like avoidance of content for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Like content goes out.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I look at it. Like even when it goes out, I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. There's a post that's gone out.
Yeah. I've recently just stopped a little bit. Beforehand, I was like, if I saw the metric, well, it's not even really a metric, to be honest. I saw that if I got more followers, then I can have more impact and create more money. But then the money part, then I realized that, okay, having more followers, that actually doesn't equal more money. But, I've always loved it because I've saw it as a creative outlet, and it just came natural to me on thinking about ideas. Like sometimes I'll be at 3 o'clock at night, just an idea would come through and I'll just jot it down. And so I love that creative outlet and on how can I express myself in a different way. Like I had like my teach pieces, I was like, okay, it's a bit boring talking about quantum physics and how like debunking science and spirituality. Why don't I create Dr. Quantum and dress up as Dr. Quantum and do a whiteboard sesh? And also having like me talking to me as an older person and me talking to the younger me. How can I make it more engaging so people can then actually look? But then the flip side to that is like the instant and the overachiever in me is like, fuck, it's only 500. I have to be happy with, fuck, put all this effort just for 500 views. But so that was like another thing that I was going through as well. It's like, fuck, my content's looking good. I'm getting shit bloody views. And then it's like it's an art. And like anything, I love the science. I love the nitty gritty into things. So seeing Instagram as like looking at the algorithms and seeing all how that works and just tweaking and tuning, and I love that juices me. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because part of my thing is like for the last 4 or 5 years I've put all of my creative bandwidth into like delivering to clients. Yeah. And I was watching a video by Daniel Priestley, and he was basically just saying, it's like every business is based on the supply and demand dynamics, and what happens when you don't have the demand for your business is often you'll just go towards the supply. How am I actually delivering it and focusing on delivering that rather than actually building more demand so you get more people coming in?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I've put all of my creative bandwidth into creating the best quality trainings for people without having enough volume to actually make that extremely better. It's like you need a certain volume of people coming through to be able to evolve how you do it on this end. Yeah. So it was this shift for me for this year to be able to go, all right, I'm gonna own my content creator. Yeah. I'm gonna start to get like, fuck, you gotta think back. It was like 2015, I think it was. I was doing a video every single day, like a 60-second video every day. Yeah. If you're watching if you want to go check it out, go to Chasing Gains on YouTube. I did this thing. It was when I was in the fitness industry, 60-second answers. So every single, like there's hundreds of these videos there where I'd be doing a piece of content. Even before Reels were out, I was doing these short form things. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. So I had the content creator then, but then I was just like, oh, I don't like it. It's hilarious. Because I was so shit and I used to say so much that I edited all my videos then so that I had to cut it out because then you recognize, holy shit, I'm saying it's like and you're like, all right, I'm gonna cut this out and this out and this out and this out, and you're very, very obsessed about going, I don't want to have to cut out 35 in this 60-second video, so I'm gonna learn not to say
Yes, that's exactly right. Like that's another thing that I've learned about content creation. It's like speaking on stage, but then it's like this self-reflection. Like you're literally in your head having all these thoughts, and whether it's good or bad, it's like all these internal thoughts. Like, like I looked at my content, I'm like, far out, I have to spend so much time editing this. But then what I then learned, what was so amazing about doing the content for me was by doing the content, you're doing reps, you're doing you're learning the material, so then you can, it's like quick manifestation. Like you're basically regurgitating, you're embodying it, and then you're teaching it. It's like the best type of, I remember listening to the Diary of the CEO, and he said like he'd be learning something and then he'd go straight on the live or something like that and then teach it. So then you can then start to embody it. And that's what I was also doing as well. Is that it also helps to embody the information that, you might feel like a fraud doing it, but doing the reps is definitely where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite statements on that is, you haven't embodied something until people have paid you for it.
That's a good one.
So that way you go and teach it, but then it's like if you can get people to pay you for it and you're not fully, in your perception, embodied in it, then that actually is what creates embodiment, because you're putting yourself kind of into it in an entirely different way, which is counterintuitive to what we think, because we're like, once I've got it nailed, then I can go and teach it. Yeah. It's like bullshit. That's your coping mechanism. That's you avoiding it. Talking to myself mostly here. Yeah. And I think that's what I've been recognizing about my relationship with content is I know I can get people to get what I'm teaching them within a certain time frame. Like if I've got an hour with someone, I'm like, I know I can ensure that they get all the pieces from it. But with content, it forces you to refine and articulate it in a even more concise way. And when you love to follow the aliveness of where you're at, that is very jarring to your nervous system to start off with. It's like the same as building models. You build models, you bang your head against the wall, trying to extract stuff out of your mind until eventually it just like falls out and then it's easy. But the first part of like building a visual model is like literally you're banging your head against the wall. It hurts because your brain is working so much and you're just like, oh my God, this is completely fucked. Yes. But once it starts to fall out, you're just like, oh my God, that is so seamless. Yes. It's so easy. It's just like that and that and that. And then it's, oh my God, amazing. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been interesting to recognize my journey with that and starting to like go, oh, okay, cool. These are all the little nuances of why I resist this and why I've created an entire identity of being about someone who like delivers so well and all that bullshit that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
This is good. This is my therapy again today.
That's so good.
What's been something that you've recognized about yourself recently that's forced you to summon more courage?
Definitely a relationship. Yeah. I believe we went through a little bit of an icky bit whilst Nat was, wanting to throw away the business and things like that. And like, well, going through the transition for becoming, like Nat giving birth to our second child and realizing that, there's certain things that we don't need anymore, and then things are slowly stripping away, and just like slowing down quite a lot. And it, put a bit of a strain on us. And so having to meet ourselves on a different level, and then also showing up, like me showing up on a different level and choosing a relationship on a deeper level, has been massive, and owning the fact sometimes, I'm not perfect, and that I get to step up even more, have been probably the biggest things that we've gone through of late.
Yeah, there's like this, we're rarely taught how to transition anything in life.
Yeah.
Like I see all these reels that are like, if you've got a 3-year-old, then you'll get this. The person that perceives is like most dehydrated is the 3-year-old when they're meant to be going to bed, basically. So it's like as soon as everyone's, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, it's like 10 o'clock at night with our kid, which is later than everyone else's. So trauma bond with me. But what the child psychologist is basically saying is like they don't know how to transition from the energy that they're in into sleep mode. So then they just look for coping mechanisms of things that are soothing for them, which is either, they come into your bed or they ask for food because they know that that's going to make them feel soothed, or they have water or any of those things because they don't know how to transition. And I think that's like part of like humanity's issue is we're never really taught how to transition anything.
Yeah.
We have this experience where like over here we're a successful business person, and then something like COVID happens, and then we don't know how to transition through that. Yeah. Or we have someone, in our life and suddenly they die and we don't know how to do that transition. Or we have the experience where it's like you've got one child and then now you've got another one on the way, or there's already 2 there, and it's like you don't know how to make that transition.
Yeah. And
it's really this dynamic where we're like this journey of the unknown that we're expected to take, but have no idea how to.
Yeah.
So I totally get the dance of that, especially in relationship, because one of my friends was like, he's a 7-figure business owner, and he's like having a kid, and we're in, I think we're in Egypt at the time. No, he told me in Egypt, he's like, the thing that you told me about parenting, no one else told me. And I'm like, oh, cool. What was it? So that I know to say it again for people. It was Boo.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, all the other things, you get all cliche things, but he's like, you said to me that, when you have a child, the relationship dynamic between the partners changes from this to this.
Yeah.
And that entire dynamic of how you've related to that person for all of the time beforehand is completely different.
Yeah.
And you have no idea how that transition is going to go because the mother's energy is just like here.
Yeah.
Compared to it being here. So the level of attention that you get is dramatically different. Yeah. And, you don't, do we have the tools for that? We're rarely highlighted to the importance of learning how to transition things.
Yeah.
Because I have many times loved to burn down the entire business, and Jackie hasn't liked that. When I shut down every profitable offer that we had before our first child. Do you know about that much?
Yeah.
So we shut down every profitable offer that we had before our first child.
Yeah.
Because I recognize that, if I keep going down that path, then I'm not going to be a present father. I'm not going to create a business. I'm not going to be there for our first child.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, I may as well do it now rather than when they come.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be much worse then.
Yes.
And I think there's like that courage to be able to face off with the unknown of that.
Yeah.
Recognizing that you have no idea what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
And doing it anyway is like what creates that space for the connection that becomes available in that.
Yeah.
What's that then opened up for you in the level of connection to Nat as you guys both journey that together? Because it's a very different dynamic of being in business together and parenting together.
Yeah. It's been huge. And the beautiful thing that I can say is that I'm so grateful that we've got the tools and resources to actually sit down and communicate. There's been times where we've snapped and been unhappy, but the beautiful thing that part of the thing that I got from you is at the end of the day, say, what I've appreciated in you. And that's really, kept the spark even more because there's so many times, it's so easy to, as you said, you're so directed on the child and what the child needs that you then forget about what your partner does. So then having that time at night, every night, and being grateful from the other person on the little things and mentioning that and knowing that you've taken notice of the little things that they've done has been massive. And also having date night has been awesome. Once a week on a Sunday, we have a meeting on. We have 7 questions that we ask each other, and by the end of it, we had the last question: do we choose this relationship? So every week we're choosing this relationship, and sometimes it can go. You definitely know when it's gone. When we've skipped a week because there's things that fucking fester.
Yeah.
And it's so great that having those meetings and that's your partner is so fucking important on who you choose. And I always say that when I was single, I was I'd choose a partner who I'd go to war with. And sometimes we do go to war.
Yeah, with each other. Just practicing,
sometimes the swords come out, but then we then realise I'm I'm arguing with you, but I fucking still love you. So why we're on a team? So why are we arguing? Let's just jump back on the same team and let's keep going forward. So having those conscious awareness and the tools to do all that has really, really helped.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect thing to wrap up on. How can people find you?
They can go on my Instagram, which is Warren Cutajar _ and all social media.
Epic. Thanks. This has been fun.
It's been absolutely amazing.